This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Tony Sims. We're in the bowl this week ahead of Conor Benn versus Sebastian Formella. All right, Tony?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Rob. You?
All good, mate. All good. Very well. Nice to see you. Nice to be in the bubble. First time for me. And I'm very glad to be covering a show that involves one of your fighters as the headline event.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, let's get the usual pleasantries out of the way. Conor Benn, how has his camp been for this fight?
Yeah, he's had a good camp. He's trained all through lockdown anyway, and we were waiting for a date. We got this date, and he's in great condition mentally and physically.
Talk to us about the opponent. Obviously, Sebastian Formella. We've heard once or twice this week that he boxed Sean Porter, apparently. Another win that stands out on his resume, Tolani and Bengay. Very capable fighter himself, won by via knockout over Miguel Vasquez. How difficult a fight is this, and how big of a step up is this compared to the opposition Conor's been facing in the past?
Yeah, as you say, he's got a couple of really good wins on his record, like the South African. That was a great win for him for the IBO World Welterweight title. Because when you look at who the South African beat previous to that, he stopped Miguel Vasquez, who, as we know on our shores, is a very hard man to stop, and it was a good stoppage. He done him with body shot. So he had that great win, and he defended the IBO title as well. And obviously his last fight, as you say, he lost to Sean Porter on points, but he had a good go at him, and it was his first fight in the States. And he's a very capable fighter. He's smart. He's good footwork. He's a clever fighter. So, and he's ranked in the top 20 in the world. So, Conor Benn's got his hands full on Saturday night.
Obviously came into this fight, wasn't initially going to be the headline event after Alexander Povetkin had to withdraw from his fight with Dillian Whyte. He now is the headline event on Saturday night. Great opportunity for him to really shine.
Yeah, it's always good for him to headline an event, especially at this stage of his career now, and this type of fight. As you say, he was chief support before, and now he's moved to an headliner. So, there's always a lot of publicity around Conor Benn. Obviously because of his dad, he's got that name behind him, the Benn name, and he's an exciting fighter, and we're looking forward to the fight on Saturday night.
Much has been said about Conor's development. You know him better than anybody. How much is he improved from the Conor Benn who first walked through the gym doors?
Well, he was only 19 years old when he came through the doors with like an handful of amateur fights, so he's very raw. But I saw a bit of natural ability in him. He's got that athleticism about him, and obviously he's got his dad's power in both hands. And from then until now, like 5 years later, with the sparring he's had and the training in the gym, he's massively improved. And he was supposed to fight Chris Jenkins as he was mandatory for the British title, and obviously that didn't materialise. So he was asking us, me and Eddie, for a world level fight. That's what he wanted to fight. He wanted a world level fighter, and I said to Eddie, he's ready to go. He's ready to be let off the leash, and and see if he is world class, which I believe he is. What I've seen in the gym, he's just got to show that on the night. He's got a very good opponent, who will fancy the fight himself. And as I say, I'm looking forward to Saturday night for Conor Benn to show what he's really all about.
You mentioned that Chris Jenkins fight, and it's been something that's been rumoured and talked about for a long time for Conor. Now he's taken this fight. I know Adrian Granados was a name that was kind of floating around. Does that say that he's kind of done with British level now? He'll not be going back after this weekend, provided he's successful?
Provided he's successful, once you step up into world level, you don't really want to come back to the domestic scene. It would have been nice to win the British and Commonwealth titles. He obviously wanted to do that, and but unfortunately it just never materialised. And now we've moved, a lot forward. We've moved over domestic scene, we've moved over European scene into the world scene, and Formella's ranked #1 in Germany. He's a good fighter, and Conor Benn's got to bring his A game to win on the night, but I believe he can win, and I believe in his ability, his dedication to the sport, what he sacrificed, leaving his family behind to be over here on his own. That's not an easy thing what he's done, and you know, I believe with that sacrifice and dedication that he's got, he'll come through and he'll win in style on Saturday night.
Now, when we've spoken about Conor Benn in the past, it's always been, sometimes he'll say, well, I need to really work on my boxing. Sometimes he needs to, be what he is, which is an explosive puncher and a come-forward fighter. Having watched Sebastian Formella, it seems to me that Conor Benn, the destroyer, is the type of fighter that we need to see on Saturday night. Do you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah, obviously, he's worked on his defence a lot. He's worked on his jab a lot. He's got a great IQ in the ring, and as I say, he's trained for an hard fight Saturday night. Everyone wants to see the son of Nigel Benn fight like Nigel Benn, but I believe Conor Benn's got a lot more to his armoury than just, walking in and knock everyone out, even though that's a great thing to do. But I think he's a smart fighter as well as a puncher. And Saturday night we're gonna see what he's all about, and I believe that he's gonna come away victorious Saturday and win in style.
Before we move on, I touched upon this earlier in another interview. I always really like seeing you and Darren Barker bump into each other. It's one of those things that you can't really explain unless you kind of see it. I mean, you don't see each other all the time now. Obviously, you speak to each other a lot, but seeing you face to face in an enclosed space like the bubble, it warms my cockles, Tony.
Yeah, me and Darren had a great run together. British, Commonwealth, 2 European titles, and finally the IBF World title in Atlantic City. And we went for a massive journey together. If you ain't read his book, then read the book. It was a great journey, and it's always great to see Darren. We speak on the phone every week, believe it or not, but it's nice to see him, as you say, at events like this. It's nice to see him involved in the boxing world still, because he loves boxing, and it's nice to see that he works in it, and we're able to bump into each other. He comes from a lovely family, and every now and then, I'll message Terry, or Terry will message me, his dad, and they're a beautiful family. And as you say, it's great seeing him, and he beat me in the table tennis earlier, but I'll beat him in the darts, so we're sort of 1-1 there.
Moving away from one of your ex-fighters to one of your current fighters, John Ryder. Now, obviously, we had Canelo and Canelo Smith announced 48 hours ago. Darren Barker, talk of the devil, and he shall appear. Where are we with John Ryder at the minute?
So John Ryder, he's looking like he's going to do a 10-rounder out in the States. Eddie said to me it's either going to be on the undercard of the Canelo Smith bill or on the undercard of Golovkin bill. He's going to let me know, but John will be ready for that fight. And obviously, if he can't get someone that's viable for him there, he might go on the Joshua undercard on the 12th. So I'm just sort of waiting to see. We should know by next week. But he's been training for December anyway, so we should know by next week who he's fighting and where he's fighting. But definitely December for John. Get back in there, get a 10-rounder under his belt, and then get yourself back into position to challenge for a world title again.
Now, with Canelo boxing Canelo Smith for the WBA World Super Middleweight title, as I understand it, the WBA regular title that Canelo had at Super Middleweight will now become vacant, and John could potentially be in line to fight for that.
Exactly, and that's the position he's got to get himself back into. No one's going to give John a freebie at their world title. He's got to get himself back into position again, and he believes, like, aside from Canelo, he's the #1 super middleweight in the world. I would say like 95% of people had John winning the fight against Canelo Smith. And he just needs to get back into position again. Like I wish Canelo Smith all the best against Canelo, and as a fellow Brit, I want to see him win. Obviously, Callum's comes from a great family, great fighting family. I respect them all, especially his dad Paul as well. I respect them, good people, and I'd love to see him win on the night. But obviously Canelo, we're talking about a pound for pound best in the world in my eyes, and it's an hard one for him to come away for a victory there. But listen, I wish him all the best, and our aim, mine and John Ryder's aim, is to get John back into position to challenge for that title again.
You mentioned 95% of people had John Ryder beating Canelo Smith. I was part of that 95%. Is it difficult now to see Callum moving on to go to box Canelo Alvarez, the big meal ticket, the golden ticket in boxing, on the back of what is a highly controversial decision over John Ryder?
Styles make fights, and Callum's you know, he's a good fighter. You know, he's like 6'4". You know, he can punch, and he's a good fighter, Callum. You know, so you know he's got a chance with anyone in the world. But as I said earlier, unfortunately, he's fighting the pound for pound king. You know, and there's a reason why he's the pound for pound king. We see him move up to light heavyweight and see what he's done to Kovalev. So size difference don't mean a lot to Canelo. You know, he's a great fighter to watch. I was at the Danny Jacobs fight. I thought Danny Jacobs is obviously John fought on the undercard. And just watching him live, he's special, you know, he's hard to hit, and just speed of punch and accuracy, and his slipping movement, his rolling, he's just a beautiful fighter to watch, you know, and, you know, as I say, I wish Callum all the best.
Before I let you go, let's touch upon the rest of your stable, growing stable or big stable that you've got. I'm going to ask you a very generic rundown. What have you got going on inside the gym at the minute?
So Ted Cheeseman has just been nominated to fight JJ Metcalf for the vacant super welterweight title as Scott Fitzgerald vacated it. So purse bids for that go out December the 9th. That's a barnstormer of a fight. You know, that'd be a great fight. JJ Metcalf is a very, very good fighter, unbeaten. So that'd be a great fight, and Ted's always involved in them sort of fights where you know it's going to be a great fight to watch on TV. You know, Ted versus JJ Metcalf. It's another unbelievable fight. I think you're going to see another fight of the year contender, maybe like the Egerton fight, you know, and that would be a great fight for the fans to watch. And then Felix Cash is obviously mandatory for Denzel Bentley. Felix got the Commonwealth title, and Denzel Bentley's got the British title, so that's another great fight. I spoke to Robert Smith. I think they're looking to do purse bids in January for that fight, so that's another great fight from my stable. And then we've got Joe Cordina's coming off his hand operation in July. He's back punching, and we look forward to getting Joe back out around the February time. Martin J. Ward, I believe he's going to be nominated for the IBF final eliminator for Jojo Diaz. So I'm just waiting for dates and opponents for him to fight. And that's about it at the minute.
I'm sure something else will come to you after that, and we can pick it up again tomorrow. But yeah, always a pleasure catching up with you, Tony. I'm going to let you go and have a well-deserved dinner, and then I will catch up with you tomorrow. But as always, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. I'll catch up with you soon.
Lovely, and don't forget to follow my Instagram page. It's at Tony Sims. It's pretty new, but get on that and give me a follow.
Get following at Tony Sims on Instagram. Always a pleasure, Tony. Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks, Rob. God bless, mate.